I'm going to be showing you 5 tips in Lightroom on how to make a car photography pop. If you like what you see, hit the like button, subscribe to see more, and if you want to see more photos like this, check me out on Instagram. Let's get into it. The first one is to use graduated filters. You have these filters that are up here. The shortcut for it is M. Get used to using these. And in photography in general, you want to make sure your subject is the brightest part of the image. For car photography, that is also important. And in this case, use the graduated filter. When you're doing low shots like this and you see a lot of the ground, you don't want your viewer to get lost in the picture. You want to draw their eye and their attention to the brightest part of the image. That's where naturally the eye would like to go to. Create a graduated mask that's here as M. Put it on the ground if you're doing low shots, or if it's the sky and the sky is too bright, you would drag that down, drag the brightness down, create some good contrast. In order to see exactly what you're doing, I would say hit the shortcut O. O will show the selected mask overlay, which will make it red. So the red parts are what is being affected. And in this case, I dragged down the highlights so it was up from here, and I dragged it all the way down, and even possibly even take out some more of the whites to make it a bit more darker. And I dragged down my exposure as well. So in this case, this is what I did. And you can add a little bit to it, but the most case is you want to draw the viewer's attention to the subject, which is in this case the car. The next tip I would say when doing this car photography in Lightroom is use your radial mask. That is the shortcut Shift and M. That will bring up this oval, the circle right here. What you would want to do for this, you can use this in multiple different ways as well, is make sure you invert the mask so that way what is inside the circle is being affected. By default, it is what is outside of the circle. You can use whatever you would like, but in this case, I'm trying to highlight and show off the subject in the picture, which is this beautiful Audi RS5. And what I can say is this is a beautiful looking car, and I think this is a great shot as well. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use O again to show what is being highlighted and what's being affected by the mask. And I'm bringing up the highlights. I'm bringing it up so that way, bringing up my shadows. The shadows were down here, and just gonna bring them up so that way one of the brightest things in the image is the car. The third thing I would do to bring out some details in the car photography would be use the adjustment brush, which the shortcut for that is K. Now in the adjustment brush, you can go into more detailed things. So in this case, I say I look and see the highlight of this car's light right here. You can change the brush size by using, if you have your mouse scrolling up and down, or I believe using the brackets. Left bracket is to make it smaller, right bracket is to make it larger. I use my mouse, it is a lot faster for me, and I go and overlay and brush in the parts I really want to insinuate, which is what I'm going to make brighter. You can make this darker or brighter. You can do whatever you want with it, the things that you want to really stand out. For me, I like the emblems. I want to create some more contrast so it's not just a completely flat image. By adding some of these highlights, you get to see a bit more of a pop, as if the car is reflecting from the sun. And by doing that, I can also, if you use your clarity sliders and add some nice contrast to it. You don't want to go overboard with them, but add a little bit of what you feel like is good enough for it. So this is the before, And this is the after. A nice little pop. Something subtle. Number 4. If we go back to the radial mask, one of the other things I've noticed is that if you want to bring some attention to these wheels, it would be great. All these things are part of the definitions to the car. You don't want them to be something too crazy as like, oh, that looks unreal. This is something subtle that I think I would do. All right. So we're going to look at the before and the after. Before and after. Check out the blue and aqua. For doing cars, I find with the blue slider and the saturation under the HSL panel, I always find that the reflections from the sky on the car, which it could work for you, but in most cases it gets a bit distracting. Adding all these extra colors in the shot can distract the viewer, and it kind of distracts from where you really want to be looking at. Using the blue and aqua sliders, I typically desaturate those so that way you have less distractions of, or the glares that's going to be in the windshield. In most cases, it's the purple, the blue, but for me, the car has some aqua colors in there, so I'm not going to desaturate it. But the aqua, blue, sometimes these purple colors are going to be in the reflection. So if you ever have problems with the reflections, look into those colors. And that should be the 5 tips. If you have any other questions, and maybe if you have more tips that you want to share with me, let me know. If you really like this photo and you want to see more photos like this, check out my Instagram. And if you like the video, please hit a like button so I know I can do more things like this. If you want to see more tips like this, subscribe to see more. Hope you guys have a good one. You learned something. Be safe. Peace.